I went to high school in the late 80s, and the movie that my friends and I all watched on repeat was Dirty Dancing. We knew every song, we tried to recreate some of those dance moves, and we all had a crush on Patrick Swayze. It was the time of our lives to believe that girls could do anything. We weren't planning to end up in the corner, but somehow after 50, we slowly put ourselves there without even realizing it. If you miss that feeling of excitement for your life, let's get that back. First, let's talk about how we got here. For me, when my kids were teenagers, life felt like it was nonstop. I was running from one thing to the next. And I remember thinking, someday I just want peace and quiet. Pajamas, no schedule, no one that needs a ride. And then my daughters started leaving for college one by one. And suddenly my calendar opened up. At first, it felt amazing. I didn't have to volunteer. I didn't have to stay out late. I could finally rest. But as I became an empty nester, so did my friends. Some moved away. Some I figured out that we didn't have as much in common anymore, and the invitations started to slow down. And then COVID hit, which didn't help any of this. So I focused on my family and work, and that was enough for a while until one day I realized I was in a rut. Eventually, you get tired of waiting for your kids to call to invite you to do something or to talk to them. You get tired of scrolling social media to see what everyone else is doing. You get tired of watching TV, and you start to realize that there's more to life than just sitting on the couch. So I'd love to know, what have you been doing lately for fun? When's the last time you belly laughed with a friend? Tell me in the comments so we can all encourage each other to find more of that in our lives. None of this happened on purpose. Life didn't shrink overnight. It happened gradually. And that's when we start telling ourselves a certain story. I guess this is how it is after 50, or that's how my mom did it. I've had my turn. I should be grateful for what I have and not want more. And I started noticing that people asked me different questions. People stopped asking me what I was doing next and started asking, so when are you going to retire? It's really easy at our age to start wanting to coast, to enter our golden girl era where we can sit around in moo-moos and do what we want, but play it safe, start to slow down things. And when we start believing that story, that's when we unknowingly put ourselves in the corner. This isn't a big dramatic decision. It actually kind of happens subtly. As former people pleasers, we finally learned how to say no, but in doing so, we forgot how to say yes sometimes. We quietly retire from things, afraid to get hurt, letting our current fitness level stop us, saying, I'm too old for that. I know I was guilty of this too. One day I told my daughter I was too old to be getting up and down off the floor. And she called me out on that, saying, you are not too old unless you say so. Now, we may not be dressing like the Golden Girls for real, but we might be still letting society decide what is age appropriate. We're the generation that got the first beepers, the first cell phones, the first email address. And do you remember dial-up internet? We figured out all this technology along the way. We were always learning new things. And then we got tired. So we decided it was our time to coast. We let friendships fade instead of nurturing them. And we forgot how to make new friends. After years of putting everyone else first, we finally get a break. And comfort starts to win. The couch instead of showing up. TV and social media become our adventure. And that's okay for a while, but you don't want to stay there. We all remember that pivotal scene when Johnny walks up to the table and says, nobody puts baby in a corner. Now I'm telling you, it's our time to get up and dance. Once we admit to ourselves that we've played it safe for a long enough time, we're ready for a more purpose-driven life, more excitement, more fun. Then we can start taking steps to change it. For me, this started to happen slowly as I worked on my health. It was no longer about weight or looks, I knew I needed my energy back if I wanted to dance through this next season. I wanted to have the energy to say yes to new opportunities, to have the courage to step out of my comfort zone and do new things. Exactly some of the advice I was giving my daughters as they started their young adult life. Now, hear me say this, I don't mean restricting yourself with a harsh diet or whipping your body back into shape. I mean, start moving your body to get more energy. Nourish your body with real food. It's no longer about the weight or how you look, it's about how you feel. When you take good care of yourself, you end up having more energy and a little bit more self confidence. You have the capacity to say yes more often, to show up, to re enter the dance floor, and start building this next act. The good news is this isn't permanent. You didn't miss your chance. You're not behind, and nothing is wrong with you. Your life just got a little quieter, but now it's time to turn the volume up a little. I used to think that travel would be my adventure. And yes, that's been so exciting to have the time to go on trips with Brady. But that's the thing. I don't want all of my excitement and fun to be on those few short trips that we get to take throughout the year. I want my life to be the fun thing, and vacation is just the cherry on the top. When you start to get your energy back, it changes what's possible. We don't need a big dramatic scene to overhaul our lives. We don't have to reinvent ourselves because, frankly, we're pretty awesome the way we are. But getting out of this rut does require us to make some small decisions in a little different way. Maybe instead of going into a gym class or church and getting in there and getting right back out, challenge yourself to talk to a few new people. Maybe even get someone's number to meet for coffee later. Maybe it's signing up for some class that you want to learn something new, like a hobby or something that you've always been interested in, and talk to people there. Try new restaurants. Try to do things just a little differently. You know the advice we gave our kids when they went off to college, meet new people as best you can. Well, we have lots of those opportunities. We're just out of practice. So we've got to build our network back up. And when you expand the people you know, they're going to invite you to new things. My schedule is starting to fill up because I did this, and I'm so excited that my calendar has a lot of fun things on it. Not that I'm driving someone to, but that I'm driving myself to. Now, of course, I'm going to always be ready to do stuff when my kids ask me to. I love spending time with my adult kids, but I want to make them proud of the life I'm building too. I want to show them how fun your 50s, 60s, and beyond can look like. So I want to encourage you today. God is not finished with us yet. He doesn't say, oh, well done. You raised your kids, you built that career, now just coast. No, he still needs us to be his hands and feet. He still has excitement planned for us in the future as long as we're ready to say yes. Yes to adventure. Yes to doing new things. Yes to helping others. We don't have to have it all figured out. We don't have to be bold all the time. Just be brave enough to take that little step out of your comfort zone. I promise you it's worth it. Just because I want a life of excitement and adventure doesn't mean I have to reinvent myself every year. And I'm going to tell you why I quit that in this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.